So, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. We just have a big thunderstorm here, so I hope my internet continues. Okay, let's start with some prayers. I have them somewhere. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, we take refuge until we attain enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and the rest, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, we take refuge until we attain enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and the rest, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, we take refuge until we attain enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and the rest, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. The four immeasurables, so that we generate bodhicitta. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the sacred happiness devoid of suffering, and may they dwell in boundless equanimity that is free from attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the sacred happiness devoid of suffering, and may they dwell in boundless equanimity that is free from attachment and aversion. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the sacred happiness devoid of suffering, and may they dwell in boundless equanimity that is free from attachment and aversion. And then supplication to Buddha Shakyamuni, back to the roots. With skillful means and compassion, you were born in the Shakya clan. Unconquerable by others, you vanquished Mara's hordes. Your physical form resplendent like a mountain of gold. To you, the king of Shakyas, we pay homage. Okay, again, thank you for joining. And we will, as you might notice, continue to discuss on the Bodhicaryavatara. And we are here in the 6th chapter at the moment. As you know, the Bodhicaryavatara is, of course, a whole layout of the Bodhisattva path, what to practice, how to view things, and the conduct, the whole training to start from an unenlightened being until the fruition of becoming a Buddha. And so this is here laid out in Shantideva's Bodhicaryavatara in 10 chapters, which are basically the 6 parameters. And within that, we are in parameter number 3, which is chapter number 6, which is on patience. And my aim is like we are in verse 78, and let's see, my aim was maybe that we reach 89, so 78 to 89. And the context of those verses is officially it is about how to deal with difficult situations that consist of our enemies being happy, or that is one, or if the suffering of our enemy or enemies are blocked or stopped, or if there's an obstacle to the suffering of our enemy. That from a very samsaric point of view, these are difficult situations because we get angry, because generally, we are happy if our enemy is suffering. And therefore, if the opposite is taking place here, if our enemy is happy, or if he or she is not suffering, then that is a difficult situation, and that needs then patience. That is sort of how traditionally these the headings or the outline is in regards to these verses here. Today I thought it's from maybe more like a Western take of it. I mean, it's not a big revelation, but it's a lot about jealousy. Because we are jealous of somebody else, somebody that whom we dislike, who is maybe having a better position or better situation, better friends, more money, nicer cars, or whatever. So jealousy is a big topic today in these verses, and Shantideva is pointing out very often how self-destructive that is. You know, how we are actually ruin our days or lives or mental peace through jealousy. Like really like palpable right now, you know, like when I'm jealous now, you know, then my mind state is definitely not happy, and I'm getting angry, and the food doesn't taste anymore. I can't sleep, you know, and my thoughts are circling around that event. But then also Shantideva has, of course, a bigger vision than just today or today's feeling. But his vision is always in regards to liberation. So in regards to the spiritual path, and here primarily in regards to bodhicitta. And he will point out in these verses that this jealousy or competitiveness, or actually it's like a bad heart, you know, we're just not happy if others are happy. So he's pointing out how that is really contradictory to the whole idea of bodhicitta, and how it's blocking our path. So that is the context of today's verses. And yeah, maybe just start, if that's okay. So, and yeah, of course, we might not all have like strong arch enemies, but we can apply it to whenever, it can be in a situation, you know, that somebody is really annoying to us, or that we are envious with somebody, or angry with somebody, or not even somebody, but maybe just a situation. So the idea here between verse 77 and 78 is that, we might say, okay, Shantideva, what you have said so far is reasonable. And if I'm not getting angry with my enemies, that's good. And if I even praise them, that's also good. There is some joy or merit in it, maybe. But still, then if my enemy is listening to that and is then getting happy, you know, that I'm praising him or her, that is what I don't want. And so therefore, I'm not praising the enemy. That is the immediate doubt that we might have. And then Shantideva is saying here in 78, it is said that others are made happy through being praised in this way. So this means the enemies will be happy if they are praised. But if in this way you do not want them to have this happiness, but if we are jealous and we really don't want to tolerate that other people, especially our enemies, are happy and joyful, and then since it makes them happy, you should cease giving wages and the like to your servants. So Shantideva is saying, if we have that logic, you know, that we don't want to make others happy, then if in case we are a boss or somebody who provides with things like wages, then we should stop doing everything that could make other people happy. So therefore, we should stop paying our employees. We should not make any more gifts. You know, we should not maybe pay rent and so on. If that would be our logic, and then he is concluding this verse here with, but you would be adversely affected both in this and future lives. So here the idea is if we act like that, you know, then that will really narrow our minds, you know, and our lives. Like in this life, yeah, we will not have many friends, you know, if we stop making people happy. We will not even have employees if we stop paying them. We will not have a flat or apartment if we stop paying for that. And also in future life, we will it will be also very what is the word? I don't know. Maybe harsh or something like that. Because if we don't practice generosity this life, then sort of next life we can't enjoy the fruits of generosity. You know, we don't have the resources, we don't have what we need. And if you have studied Chandrakirti's Bodhicaryavatara, he's also really praising generosity in the beginning as the important parameter because it provides all the resources we need for Dharma practice in the future. So, but if we're having that bad attitude towards others or enemies, especially, then yeah, we are definitely not practicing the parameters for them in this life, because we are afraid that makes them happy. You know, if we are generous or if we are patient or if we are praising them. So, and if that strange hang up that we have then continues, then yeah, we stop practicing the parameters. That means our whole progress, our whole Bodhisattva path is blocked. Yeah, and that I think shows, for example, many side effects and disadvantages of being so jealous. And yeah, sometimes I mean I'm not a poet or something, so I might not really see sometimes or appreciate enough the beauty of the stanzas themselves, but I'm sure they're beautiful. But for me, sometimes it helps to, and I wanted to encourage all of you to, if you like, to also, if you read the stanzas, maybe just make lists, you know, like the bullet points, you know, that Shantideva is covering. Because sometimes maybe they're getting lost in the beauty and in the verses. But for me, sometimes it's easier to have like bullet points, his logics. Anyway, so yeah. So, and so here Shantideva really wants us to soften up basically and not be so envious or jealous with others. Even if they're in the better situation, because it's really like destroying ourselves a lot. And even though that is not in the verses here, in other contexts, it is also said, it's good to remember that if we praise somebody, even our enemies, that is actually something good happening instantaneously in our mind also, you know, this appreciation of good qualities or good aspects, and that will make our mind more happy and more light. The same also when we give something like material or an offering to the gurus and so on. Yeah, that also that act itself is already making us happy. So therefore, yeah, being generous here with praise, for example, or generous with patience is definitely something very good to do for bodhisattvas. And then maybe just one more verse, and then we can discuss if you have something. So 79. This is in the same vein. So it says here, when people describe my own qualities, I want others to be happy too. So this is now, if somebody is praising us, then we really rejoice it, you know, and we want to throw a party and invite everybody in that celebration or in this eulogy, I think in Greek. So in this, we want to invite everybody to praise ourselves, you know, and then we might even get defensive if other people are not joining into that praise. So, but we are becoming so happy and excited if we are praised, and we also, yeah, we celebrate also with the person who praises us. So it's we understand that we are happy to be praised, and also the praising person is also experiencing happiness. But then it is totally different here in the second half. But when they, like these praises, or when they, the other people, describe the qualities of others, especially of our enemies. So basically, when third people praise our enemies, then I do not wish to be happy myself. Then that is painful for me, and then I don't want that there's a big celebration happening with this in this praise. And that shows really how small-minded we are, you know, and how much it is opposing our Bodhisattva practice. And yeah, and also it shows, I think, also how self-destructive it is, because it is a very confused state of mind. We, as a human being, as the Dalai Lama always says, is we all wish to be happy, and we want to avoid suffering. And I think that is also quoted from Bodhicaryavatara. But yeah, here we are even sacrificing or destroying our own happiness. That could definitely come if we would just join in to the praise towards our enemies. But because we are so hard mentally, or I don't know, we have such an attitude of aversion against the enemy, that's why we are not joining into that celebration of praising the enemy. And implicitly by that, we accept that we feel unhappy and angry and miserable. So that is sort of the confusion. We want happiness, but then, of course, because of strong habits, like in this case, jealousy or aversion. So even though we want happiness, but then because of that negative habits, we always create more unhappiness for us. Even though happiness is really close, you know, I mean, or really near, we could easily have joined the celebration here, for example, in praising others. But yeah, we are reluctant to do so. And so, yeah, the advice here again is very obvious. Yeah, be patient, and here especially then, yeah, that we train our mind more in this opposite of jealousy, that we really rejoice when others are praised, and we are really happy about it. And then, yeah, then we have much more chances in life to be happy if we use these chances. Otherwise, if we don't use them, then yeah, we have more chances to be unhappy. And yes, as everything on the path, and I'm sure you remember from the third chapter also, there's this, when we take the Bodhisattva vow, I always mistake the verses, but like 22, 23, 24, something like that in the third chapter, there are two verses. There, it is always saying about step by step, you know, like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past, you know, we followed the training step by step. Likewise, I will do so too. So therefore, my point is it is, of course, very difficult to wholeheartedly rejoice when our enemies are happy. And nobody, also not Shantideva, is expecting that from us. But yeah, we are expected maybe to at least start one small step today, you know, and then familiarize ourselves with that, and then step by step, it's not so fake how we rejoice, but it's more than from our whole heart. So that would be these two verses. Yeah, maybe a few minutes. If you have anything to discuss on these two verses, then please do so. on this topic of jealousy, rejoicing, praising, and enemies. Marlene.
Yeah, a simple question. Should we rejoice wholeheartedly the attitude when the enemy is hurting me, and I should rejoice wholeheartedly in his feeling of victory over me and say, oh, good guy? I mean, I think
that depends really on what your present training is. But generally, we should try to rejoice in positive things. That is important. And so if somebody is taking advantage of you, or maybe, things like that, then that is not something to rejoice. Yes. Okay. But in case you have the feeling, yes, I always want to be the first, like Geshe Langri Tangpa in his 8 words or verses of mind training, he's saying, if we have the tendency, always want to be the first and the victor, then we should offer the triumph to others. So if that is your present practice, that you give the better seat and the higher seat to somebody else, then you will perceive that situation differently. But that has nothing to do with...
I wanted to refer to injustice.
Yeah, no, injustice you should not rejoice. That is not something that we should give positive feedback in the world. Yeah. No, here's really like, here's the context is if somebody's an enemy and he's really good in piano playing and is very impressive and he has many fans, and then I'm getting jealous with him or her, that is my problem. And if he is getting praised for playing piano so nicely, that is maybe neutral, but maybe also a good quality. So that is fine to rejoice. But if this person is unjust to others, myself or others, then injustice is not to be rejoiced, definitely not. That is also like when we karmically speak, then rejoicing, that from the 7 branches is a very powerful practice where we accumulate as much merit or even more sometimes as the person who did the original act. So if there's I don't know, let's say a great doctor who is saving like thousands of people in 1 year, and then I'm rejoicing in him or her, then I also accumulate that great merit that he or she has accumulated over that year of treating the patients so well. But if there's a killer who has killed 100 people this week, and I rejoice in that, then I'm also accumulating that negativity, because I'm rejoicing in killing or in injustice, what your example was. And that is definitely not what our training should be.
May I have a second question? I was thinking of the Christian terminus. If somebody hits you on that side, give him the other side as well. And that, I mean, I'm in that questions, I really think that in moral or ethic attitudes, Buddhism and Christianity have some parallels. So I thought that giving the 2 sides of my faith has also to do with sovereignty. So I'm above that, so I can really pardon the other. I can pardon the other for whatever he does. So, but that's not the question in here, you say.
Yes, and here's really more about rejoicing and jealousy. But the other thing, what I meant with giving the triumph to somebody else, or maybe letting other people a little bit take advantage of you. I know that is really not politically correct to say that, but in the mind training, there are these instructions. So that is a little bit another topic of mind training. But and then yes, if somebody is taking advantage of you and you can't really deal with it, and then maybe it's sometimes a good training, even though it's painful, to even let them take a little bit more advantage of you.
Yeah.
But in a control, you still have a little bit control over it. But it is also a good training, for the mind to if one is maybe too arrogant or too pride and always wants to be the best, then maybe let that happen. Having said that, if we then have another perspective again, and if we think of the other person, then if he or she is taking advantage of you, like beating our one cheek, then maybe we should not allow that to him to do it a second time, because that is bad for him, you know, or her. So if you have that perspective, you know, then you should always stop the abuser, even though it's a small kind of abuse, you know, like, but if you have that view, then yes, it's your compassionate action to stop him or her creating that negative tendency of taking advantage of you. Yeah. So, and I'm sure there are many more perspectives, but I find it always interesting that there are different perspectives, and then depending on our perspective, then our action will be very different, you know. And I don't know, that's going too far, but therefore, let's say Jon and Marlene, they are reacting differently to a specific situation, like being slapped, you know, because you have different views and different instructions at the moment that you want to practice. I should never dare to judge and saying that is better than the other, you know, because both are equally great, you know, like I can't judge from the action, you know, but it all depends on how Jon or Marlene, now in my example, view the difficult situation and what they want to practice in that situation.
Thank you.
Okay, then let's have more verses. Verse 80. Yeah. Having generated the, so here that is like a very like as you see, Shantideva is saying I, you know, that is happening often. You know, Shantideva is often addressing his own mind or his own ego, and yeah, so he's inviting us to do the same. So he's saying, having generated the awakening mind, bodhicitta, through wishing all beings to be happy. Yeah, we recited that in the beginning with the four immeasurables, the immeasurable quality of love. So that is originally, that was our idea, right? We entered the Bodhisattva path by, yeah, contemplating a lot of things, understanding a lot of things, meditating on things, and then developing this good heart, bodhicitta, and so on. And so that was our original intention in the Mahayana, that we wish everybody to be enlightenment, or at least to be happy, and then also, yeah, have, of course, the causes for happiness or enlightenment. And then, so the first half is saying like that. And then Shantideva is asking, so if that is the situation that we voluntarily went into, then why should I become angry or upset or impatient or jealous? Yeah, if they, the other people, especially the enemies, find some happiness themselves. So because even though we ideally, we always, not always, but ideally we sometimes pray, yeah, may I be the protector of the world, may I enlighten all sentient beings and so on, as if we are the only cause and only help for them. So here, yeah, Shantideva is inviting us to think that, yes, maybe sometimes we can help others, but very often people get helped without our doing, because maybe somebody else is helping them, or they find the solution themselves, and so on. And then yeah, but still often we have such a strange mind that that we don't want that somebody else is happy without us being responsible for it. I don't know if you have experienced that. Sometimes I think in a very like maybe partners have that, and Shantideva is of course asking us not to, or he's asking himself, why am I doing like that? Why do I feel like that? And then he basically wants to go back to the original Bodhisattva vow or the generation of Bodhisattva, where it is very clear that we just want happiness for all sentient beings or enlightenment for all sentient beings. And it doesn't have to be sort of our copyright there, you know, it doesn't have to be our doing. The main thing is that they're happy. The main thing that they are becoming bodhisattvas or Buddhas. It doesn't matter how they do it in that sense here. So therefore, there is no need that we think the others are only allowed to be happy if we made it like that. Okay, another verse, and then we can discuss again if you like. 81. If I wish for all sentient beings to become Buddhas worshipped throughout the three realms, then why am I tormented when I see them receiving mere mundane respect? Yeah, I like that. So, so the idea is, again, the same premise. We are now studying in Bodhicaryavatara. That means we sort of aspire to be bodhisattvas. That means we sort of have cultivated bodhicitta. And again, that means we wish all beings to be happy or enlightened and to have the causes for that. That's why we started that whole path. So therefore, if we really wish that everybody becomes a Buddha, actually, that is here the second, in the second line. So we wish all of them to be Buddhas, and then it is automatically that they are worshipped or venerated, you know, throughout the three realms, no matter how you count them. Let's say desire realm, formless realm, or below earth, on earth, or above earth. But anyway, so let's, I don't know, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, you know, he is so revered and so praised and worshipped only on this planet, for example. I'm sure somewhere else too. But that is actually what we wish for everybody, you know, to be like that, you know, to be like a Dalai Lama and to be like a Buddha. And then, yeah, automatically those beings, those Dalai Lamas or Buddhas will be praised. And then Shantideva is asking, yeah, if that is again our fundamental Mahayana wish, then why am I tormented? He's asking, why do I feel bad, angry, unhappy, intolerant, and so on? When my enemies, well, not even enemies, but yeah, here's the context of enemies, when they receive a little bit of worldly respect, you know, and they get a little promotion, when they have the better seat in the cinema or in the shrine room, I guess, or so that is again that very confused attitude, you know, where our commitment, bodhicitta, and then our real actions or real thoughts are really contradictory. And yeah, as usual, Shantideva is asking us to be aware of this happening. And the answer is always the same. You know, yes, intellectually or in theory, of course, we want to have bodhicitta and want to feel that love and compassion for all sentient beings. But then, yeah, our habits always create problems. And yeah, and that is the case on the path. So we have slowly do these two things, like purifying our habits, and then on the other hand, like generating qualities. And then, yeah, we will be more, then the theory of bodhicitta will become more like practice, really. yeah, but still, it's just to remember that actually we want all beings to be Buddha means we want everybody to be praised all the time, or that implies it. So therefore, there is no need to be so narrow in our jealousy or envy. Does it make sense? If not, please say something. I think today's verses are not so difficult, but and as I said in the beginning, they're sort of always going into the same direction, but that is often the case, I think, with Shantideva, but then still each verse has a little bit different perspective and angle, so that is then always enriching. Oh, there's something written. Sorry, I just see it. If some decent people get mundane respect, it's okay for me. But for some example, criminal get it, I think it's not acceptable. Yeah, I think that is similar to what Marlene said earlier about rejoicing in somebody who is unjust or criminal, as you said. Yeah, definitely. And again, that from if we like, if you look at Bodhisattva trainings, then yes, let's say I'm aspiring to be a Bodhisattva and I see somebody who's a criminal and I see 20 people respecting him and forming a gang and so on. And criminal means, of course, this guy is really like harming others, stealing from others, whatever, raping others and so on. So definitely as a Bodhisattva, if possible, I should skillfully, so that I survive, skillfully try to create some awareness, you know, in that gang or in these 20 people that that is not something to follow, you know, that is, I mean, from Buddhist point of view, you know, this guy, you know, this gangster, this criminal doesn't have the right view, he doesn't have the right actions, doesn't have the right conduct, not the right motivation, and so on. So please don't associate yourself with him or her, don't respect him or her, don't enable his or her criminal activities, definitely. That is, I think, really similar to what Marlene was also touching. And yes, I definitely forgot to say it, you know, but rejoice, respect or praise here in our Bodhisattva context should always, always in the situation when there's really a good quality. Like, yeah, let's say, yeah, it doesn't matter, no need for an example. So, so if some, but the only problem here in this context of Shantideva is that, yes, I perceive that person that is praised as an enemy, but Shantideva is not saying that person is an enemy. He's never saying that person is a criminal. It's just, there's one guy who has qualities and is getting praised. That's the situation. And the only problem is I perceive this guy as an enemy. And that's why I'm suffering. That's why I'm getting angry. That's why I'm getting jealous. So Shantideva is talking about this situation. But yeah, still what Marlene and you, Changshub, said and wrote is definitely, it's definitely another situation, but it's also an important situation to think about. And yeah, there again, yeah, never rejoice or never, yeah, or in your situation here, yeah, try to create awareness that this is a criminal and that people should not respect and follow him or her, definitely, yeah. Larry.
Hi. So, I guess saying that we should not respect a criminal or is not the proper way of saying it. I mean, sure. In the sense that if a criminal is someone that has committed a crime, but if later he's trying to going through rehab, for example, then he's doing a right action or a correct action. And I think we should rejoice in that.
Yes.
So you're really right. Yeah.
Okay. So then it is not that we should rejoice or not rejoice in the label that a person has in the past, but in the qualities of the certain activities that the person is doing at the moment.
Yes, thank you so much. I was really oversimplifying it here. And I would, Jon knows that I sometimes quote my brother with this. So my point is, we should always respect criminals and everybody, every sentient being we should respect, but we should not respect their actions if they are negative. That would be much better. And when I normally quote my brother, I mean, when his kids were young and they did really stupid things, then he always said something like, that was really stupid what you did, but I love you, you know, that kind of double thing. So therefore, yes, his kids, they need to be loved and they are worthy of being loved as every sentient being, like a criminal, definitely, yes. But nevertheless, the action, as a parent, he can't give positive feedback to a negative action. So therefore, that action, that should be not respected. Yeah, thank you, Larry, for pointing that out. That is definitely a big difference, and like the action or the person. And yeah, the person is a sentient being, and especially the ones who do many stupid things, they definitely need more love from us, you know, and more good vibrations and more hugs and whatever. So there we should definitely respect and nourish that person. But at the same time, if possible, we should discourage his or her negative actions. And yeah, definitely. And the other point you raised, that is of course also true. Like a criminal is not a permanent criminal, but everything is changing. And actually, from Buddhist point of view, a criminal is always more a Buddha than a criminal. I mean, since everybody has the Buddha nature, so his or her true nature is of course always the Buddha, and his criminal energy or activity is only very much on the surface. So therefore, after rehab, but also during rehab and before, yes, he or she is a sentient being, and he has all the Buddha qualities. They're just very obscured at the moment, maybe. And but this person, yeah, deserves our respect. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Larry. I was really like putting it too too black and white. Yeah. Because that is really the good. I mean, when I became a Buddhist, that is really what I like. That there's by nature beings are not negative. You know, that's really something. But yes, the action can be. You know, the habits can be very negative. The emotions can be very negative. But that is always adventitious and temporary and removable. It's me.
Can I mention something?
You're the one. Now I know. Yes. Yes. Good.
Nice to see you. Oh. So I have this doubt sometimes, like when someone is doing certain bad actions, but they're in a kind of nice and comfortable position in their life, then sometimes I feel like it makes it easier for them to kind of ignore their bad actions, you know? And like, but then I notice myself thinking like, but then it's also not good maybe to think like, oh, maybe if they were completely like destitute and depressed, then maybe they would stop doing their bad things. I don't know if this is clear, but so I find it a bit difficult then, like, should I still rejoice that they have, you know, comfort and wealth and like nice things to do and these kind of.
I don't know. I had the feeling you talk about a former president, but maybe it's wrong.
Maybe these kind of people, yeah, are a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I cannot not think of him now in the situation, and yeah, I think with Emilia in another session we discussed on that. So the idea from Buddhist point of view is, let's use this former president who lives very luxurious life in golden apartments and whatever, with all the power and money and golf playing whatever he likes. So there's a lot of happiness, like hopefully he was enjoying it. But then on the other hand, of course I can't judge him, but then then he's maybe doing negative things that is destructive to others and painful to others, and has very big consequences for environment and therefore many beings in a negative way. So and then yes, so if we follow what Larry started, so yes, this president is a human being. He needs compassion and love, definitely, full stop, always. He needs care. On the other hand, his negative actions that he is doing now, destroying the environment or being racist and so on, is something we should not respect. This is not something we should tolerate. This is not something we should encourage. And that is also something we should maybe warn others about. And then third, he's still living in a happy place, golden apartment. Then that is our training for jealousy, because even though it looks like maybe related to his present actions, like karmically speaking, it's not. Like that he has now this golden palace is not the result of what he's doing, what racist thing he is doing at the moment, but this golden palace that he has now is the result of many good karmas he has done in many previous lives. Like, therefore he sort of deserves that that golden life also, but when we look into, because of past actions he deserves it. But then if we look at his present actions, unfortunately he will suffer a lot in the future. So therefore so much compassion needs to come in for him. Yeah, so does that make sense? So there are the different aspects of past, present, future, and cause and result. For me, that helps if you analyze that. But what do you think, Esme?
I think it makes sense, and it's like helpful to think about it that way. But I notice in myself that then like sometimes it seems if someone has such nice circumstances that it can make them, it kind of enables them to keep doing their negative things or something. But then I think if I then like wish for them not to have those circumstances, then I'm basically wishing that they are somehow like, you know, a beggar and super depressed and really sad, and then maybe they'll stop, you know, they'll like, maybe then they'll pause and reflect on their behavior. But then that also doesn't seem very compassionate, you know, to like wish that for someone. So I think it's,
yeah, but I think now I get your point. Yes, but that is always so difficult to generally say, because let's say Trump again as an example, he lives in this golden palace, but he's doing negative things. Then the golden palace, of course, implies he has power and the position and the stage to do negative things. And yes, what I think Jangshub started with, respecting a criminal, and then the discussion on that, then it could be a good bodhisattva deed maybe to impeach him, you know, and take away that stage, you know, and that palace. Of course, not with the wish that he lives on the street as a beggar, but that he doesn't have that much power to do so many negative things. That could definitely be something, and that's why. Sorry, it should not be too political today, but that's why sometimes impeachment is the right thing to do. You know, if that is a way to stop somebody of doing more harm. That of course goes in a smaller level too. You know, if I don't know, my brother is doing something negative this evening to, I don't know, another person, then yeah, in whatever way, if I can help him by stopping him to do that, you know, and help the third person also by stopping my brother to do that, you know, in that small scenario, that's of course good. Yeah. Let's say if he's, this is a stupid example, my brother is not like that, you know, but if he has, if then he has a knife and then he's stabbing somebody, you know, so that knife, that power or stage of a president, you know, that if I can take that away, then that is good for the president and the people. And yeah, it's good for my brother if I take this knife away, you know, and for the victim of my brother. So therefore, yeah, Bodhisattva is always, yeah, the sattva part, you know, in the word Bodhisattva means always heroic. So there has to be bravery and there has to be action, yeah. And the problem is, of course, I don't have always. I mean, it's difficult to have the full picture of a situation. Therefore, it's of course difficult to know what to do. But in those examples, like I think with Trump and my yeah, made up brother here, I think yeah, still one has that common sense, and I think one should try to do something, yeah. And always with compassion, you know, for the bad guy and the good guy, you know, really, like, let's talk about Trump again. You know, if he's destroying so many beings and lives and environment, he will suffer tremendously in the future. And therefore, for him, also with compassion for him, you know, we should stop him, or should have stopped him. Okay, great questions and great remarks and discussions. Okay, then it seems we can try another one. Yeah, also, I think Jon knows that too. Like, sorry, I'm always, because I know Jon, I think the longest here. And, you know, like during the Hitler time, you know, I always pray, you know, if that happens again, that I'm one of these in Sophie Scholl's gang, you know, and resistance and so on. I think that is what has to be done, you know, in those situations, definitely. And I wish I have the courage and the skill and compassion to do so, and the wisdom. For the sake of many people, yeah, really. So many. Okay, then, 82. If a relative for whom I'm caring and to whom I must give many things should be able to find his whole livelihood, wouldn't I be happy rather than angry? Yeah, that is similar to the previous verse. So that, yeah, we just want beings be happy, and it doesn't have to be us making them happy. And an example is, yeah, if somebody, like a family member, maybe our kids, my brother, or my parents, maybe who are sick, and so on, you know. And if I'm usually responsible to take care of them, like, I don't know, nursing, time, medicine, food, shelter, and so on. But then this person, let's say my kids, they now are very independent and have their own great job and enough money, or my parents are not sick anymore because maybe somebody else was giving them the better medicine. Yeah, all these examples, you know, then of course I should be happy, you know, if these people I was responsible for and I cared for them, and now they get happy and independent and rich and beautiful and all of that, even without my support, then of course I should be happy. And of course, in the Buddhist context here, like family members means like all sentient beings, like for Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas should perceive all sentient beings like family members. And therefore Shantideva is asking, so why are we, why wouldn't I be happy rather than angry? So yeah, why are we, wouldn't it make more sense to be happy and not jealous? Because also, again, coming back to the whole Bodhisattva idea is we want all beings to become Buddhas or become enlightened, and that is if we think about it, is really a huge task, and that's why again Sattva, Bodhisattva means hero, because it's a huge task because the number of beings is infinite, the number and amount of suffering is infinite, and the time it takes, is infinite, and all of that. So it's a long endeavor, and therefore, actually, we should rejoice if some beings get happy or become even bodhisattvas or Buddhas without without us having to do anything. So that is we have less burden on our shoulders. So yeah, therefore, whenever somebody is happy or making progress in a good way, then that is exactly what we wanted as bodhisattvas. And if that happiness or progress is happening without our doing, even greater, then we have little less job as a bodhisattva. And yeah, so that is I think something good to consider, because there are many stories, like Avalokiteshvara is of course a famous example, where great bodhisattvas like Avalokiteshvara, they get discouraged because there are so many beings to liberate, and there's so much things to do, so many sufferings to eliminate, and so much work to be done. So yes, he got discouraged and went to Buddha, and then yeah, Buddha helped him. Therefore, in that light, that it can be very discouraging to be bodhisattvas. Therefore, it is even great if sometimes some jobs are not to be. We don't need to. Sorry. So since it can be discouraging to be bodhisattvas, therefore it is good news if some jobs just solve themselves. In other words, if others just get happy without us having to do anything for it. So that is, sorry, that was a little bit convoluted, but that is the idea here, that yes, of course we rejoice if our sick parents get healthy without our doing, of course. And likewise, yeah, we should have that good heart, open heart with everyone, if they get happy and so on. Good. Okay, then one more, and then we can discuss again if you like. Yeah, that is also a nice conclusion, and then we start with another topic, not really different, but different situation. Here, 83 is a little bit like a conclusion. If I do not wish for beings to have even this, how can I wish for them to awaken? And where is there an awakening mind in him who becomes angry when others receive things? So if I'm jealous and I can't be happy, if something small and insignificant happens to somebody else, like a little success, or a little bit respect or a little bit promotion, and if we are jealous and then we wish, may this guy don't get it, So if we think like that, that is this first line, then it's very strange to wish them to be Buddhas. The second line, if we have that teeny tiny mind, this teeny tiny jealous mind, then yes, it's very strange at the same time to claim to want them to be Buddhas. And then therefore Shantideva is asking, where, in the third line, where's then my bodhicitta? And yes, like from Abhidharma point of view, since like there are mental states that cancel each other out, you know. So if we are full of that jealousy, yes, in that moment, there is not really bodhicitta. We're not really breaking it because it is still sort of continuously there, but it's really not in the forefront of our mind when we are jealous or angry and all these things. So maybe we can answer, and where is there an awakening mind? So maybe, yeah, not very active, definitely is one answer. In who becomes angry when others receive things. Yeah, that is, yeah, really a strange or hypocritical sort of bodhicitta, you know, when we are so angry and jealous if somebody is happy. So in the commentaries, we are then also asked to check again, you know, why or how do we claim to be a bodhisattva, and what does it really mean for us, and do we really mean it? And yes, I guess and hope we all mean it, but still the power of habits is strong sometimes. Okay, then comes a little bit different situation in the next verses. So maybe if there's something to discuss, please do so. You don't have to, okay. Just don't want to bore you here or say stuff that are, I don't know, uninteresting. Yeah. Okay, then 84. That is because that is a strange situation, and Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche is explaining it. I think how it should be explained, but with like it's more like a lama's problem. 84. So let's say. Yeah, let's say you are like a lama in a village, and or whatever. Yeah, let's say you're the only lama in a village, and there's like a patron sponsor who's giving you money from time to time. But then, and you're of course a very ambitious lama. That is the problem here, you know. And then a visiting lama comes to the same village or town, and then. And then you become jealous because now this visiting lama is there and you're not the main person in town anymore. And then your sponsor is maybe sponsoring that other visiting lama. And then, yeah, out of this anger or jealousy or envy, we might even create some scandals about that visiting lama, so that this visiting lama is not getting enough offering or respect or audience. So that is the situation. Yeah, maybe it's not, I don't know, maybe we can also transfer it to something in our lives, but originally that is apparently the situation here. And then yes, so then the problem is the resident lama, he or she is getting angry and impatient if the visiting lama is getting the money, the donations. Yeah. So, and then the advice here, what should the resident lama do? And that is here the answer in verse 84. What does it matter if my enemy, the visiting lama, is given something like the donations, or I think an or is missing here, or not? So what is the big deal for me if the visiting lama is getting all the things? Because whether he obtains it, so whether he gets all the donations or the audience or attention and so on, or whether it remains in the benefactor's house, or if the donation or the sponsoring stays with the rich guy, you know, and the rich guy is not giving the money to the visiting lama. For me personally, the outcome is the same, because I'm not getting anything. either the money stays at the sponsor or the money goes to the visiting Lama, but me as resident Lama, then I don't get it anyway. So no difference for me. Therefore, no need to be jealous with the visiting Lama. So that is the first in this context. And then we have 85, which continues with this idea. Oops. So why becoming angry? Why by becoming angry do I throw away my merits, the faith others have in me and my good qualities? Tell me, why am I not angry with myself for not having the causes for gain? Okay, now we come back a little bit to karma, like cause and effect. So why by becoming angry I do throw away my merits, the faith others have in me and my good qualities? So the karmic idea is if okay, let's assume we are the resident lamas and the visiting lama is coming. Yeah? So so we are getting angry that the visiting lama is getting the money and the donation and whatever. And so we are getting jealous, we are getting angry, and against that visiting lama. And of course, we have also desire to the money or to the position. So we are full of these negative emotions. And these negative emotions, they are now the problem. I mean, that is not now, but it's always the problem here in Shantideva's text. So they are always the real enemy. So they destroy me, these negative emotions, because, yeah, what did I say? Anger, jealousy, desire, you know, they really confuse us. They really, yeah, if we translate merit here as like maybe a positive attitude or positive outlook or open heart or mental spaciousness, then that is really like corrupted by these negative emotions. So our merit is definitely suffering. And also our faith or devotion we have in that teacher or in teachers maybe in general will also suffer, you know, if we are full of negative emotions. And also our own good qualities like bodhisattva, good-heartedness and so on, that will also suffer when we are full of these negative emotions. So that is sort of the problem that we are creating. So we are getting angry and jealous and have desire to the money. And that actually destroys all these good things in us: marriage, good heart, bodhisattva, faith, devotion, and so on. So that is the situation. And then if we analyze karmically, then the visiting lama got the donations, let's say, and the attention and so on, because he or she has these good qualities like merit, devotion, and yeah, bodhisattva and so on, because that was attracting the beings. That was like karmically speaking, that attracted him, attracted that he gets donations, you know, because maybe he practiced so much generosity previously. That's why he has karma or merit to also be the receiver of generosity. And yes, he or she might be a good lama who's really practicing well, a lot of meditation, awareness, and so on. And of course, then he or she has many qualities, and that attracts beings, and then that attracts them being of service to him or her, you know, sponsoring him or her, or being of service or whatever. So the point is, like in the previous example with Esme, even though we talked about a negative person living in a golden palace, but still the point here is this visiting lama deserves all these donations and attention. That is his merit. He or she deserves it, full stop. Not our business. But if we really want also to have these donations, that is what Shantideva is saying, then we need the causes for being sponsored. but with our jealousy and anger and desire, we are exactly destroying these causes for being sponsored. That is the point here. So therefore, it is not helpful to just think, oh, I also want to be sponsored. I also want to get all what he gets, just like that, without any cause and condition for it, just because we are jealous, we think we deserve it. No, what Shantideva is asking us, we should then make sure that if we want to be rich in this example or be the middle of attention, then we need to have the causes for that. And the causes for that is, yeah, having bodhicitta, having good qualities, being compassionate, having merit, having devotion, being a good lama, you know, in that sense, you know, and then we will have the good causes for all of that. Of course, it's not, the point here is not that that is the aim of a lama to get as many donations as possible, but Shantideva is saying, yeah, if you want to have donation, then yeah, jealousy is definitely not helping, but it's even the opposite. Jealousy even destroying all the causes for you to get the donations. Yeah, and therefore the advice is very clear. Yeah, if somebody is like visiting lama coming, you know, and yeah, and this, we should, like everything, like respect or donation is not something we can demand or force, but it has to be earned, sort of karmically speaking, merit-wise. And yeah, what is most attractive is bodhicitta, definitely. This good heart and this care for others. So therefore, that needs to be the focus of our practice and not our jealousy or anger or desire. Yeah. Does it make sense? And yeah, of course, this, I think when we can apply that maybe easily to if we are working in an office and then somebody new comes and gets a better job or position, then maybe that could be the same situation. If everything goes right, of course, you know. But if this other person gets the better job without being really qualified, but just because of strange things, that is totally another topic. But here it's only about, there's a qualified lama, and we are also qualified, but we are getting jealous and we perceive him or her as enemy. Of course, that disqualifies us already, but yeah. Okay, let's have one more. Then that was my goal of the day or the evening. 86. Let alone not having any remorse about the evils that you committed. Oh mind, why do you wish to compete with others who have committed meritorious deeds? Yeah, maybe that is, as you know, maybe in many commentaries, there's between two verses, there's sometimes then one doubt, like phrased, and here I think it's a very childish doubt. You know, we think, oh, but we are all the same. You know, if I don't get the respect or the donation, then nobody should get it. You know, so if I don't get it, it's sort of okay. You know, but then really nobody should get it. That is the idea. And then Shantideva's answer is here 86. Let alone not, sounds so double negative. So in positive, like, yeah, affirmative, it means like, yes, we should have remorse in regards to what negativities we have done in the past, about the evils that you have committed. Yeah, evil is, I don't know how Christian that word is. I guess it is, but maybe not. But it always means like egocenteredly, you know, or non-altruistically. So we have, out of ignorance, we have done many things that caused pain or suffering to others in the past. So that is something, that is what the first two lines are saying. That is something we should be aware of and then have remorse or regret about it. And that is what we should do instead of competing with others, being jealous and angry and so on. Because they have a totally different mind stream. I mean, they did many different other things than us, positive things in previous lives or previous times, very ethical things. So they accumulated a lot of merit in the past, and therefore now they are getting the donation and the respect and so on. Yeah, so the idea is that we are definitely not equal, and we all have, of course, a little bit shared or overlapping collective karma. I mean, we perceive a computer screen as a computer screen, or yeah, an ear as an ear, and so on. But individually, we have so different karmas and or merit or qualities or obscurations. So yeah, therefore, yeah, some others, and also we have different karmic connections to third and fourth people. So therefore, this visiting Lama has a different karmic connection to these village people here than us, and therefore he or she is treated differently. I mean, that is very basic, but I think it's still good to remember that. And I think especially in, yeah, if one is with an authentic teacher, then that is also, that is now really a different topic, but sort of related. So if we are with an authentic teacher, then that is, then he or she has to deal with the students very individually, because we are all very individual and very different. Of course, again, we have common problems like basic ignorance, full of negative emotions and habits and so on. But then what kind of tools or methods or practices the Lama needs to prescribe is very specific and individual. Yeah, and therefore, and that maybe concludes here these thoughts of Shantideva also. Therefore, there is no need to be too competitive with others or too jealous and to comparing oneself with others, because yeah, we are just so different. So, what do you think? Nothing? Yeah, because I think it's enough with the verses today. It's the first time I think I covered all the verses I thought of. Larry.
So during all this session, I've been remembering that Rinpoche has said several times that without the wisdom, even practicing the paramitas can support our ego. And I think that in all these verses, one common characteristic is the lack of wisdom, the not seeing the truth and forgetting that the golden palace or the donations are just relative. It is not absolute. I want to comment on that. Thanks.
Yes, you're very right. I just share the first verse of chapter 9 also. So all these practices before, you know, so all these 8 chapters of Shantideva's book here and the chapter 10 also by the Buddha are taught for the sake of wisdom. So wisdom is actually, yeah, the main thing actually that we need here. And therefore, if you are fed up with your suffering, then yes, cultivate wisdom. So, so wisdom is really the aim, and wisdom is sort of called the absolute, but then to achieve it, as this verse here in chapter 9 says, we need the relative. And but yes, as Larry said, they're of course not so separatable, but they always have to go together. Yeah, as you also said, or quoted Rinpoche, like parameter practice is what we are doing here at the moment. The parameter of Shanti, of patience, and para means beyond, and para means beyond, because we are going beyond samsara and nirvana with these practices. And this going beyond can only happen through wisdom. And if we don't have the wisdom, then it is just usual patience or usual generosity or usual discipline, which has a good effect, but it's not a beyond effect, but it stays sort of in samsara. And that is, of course, better than nothing. It creates conducive circumstances to then maybe do something that goes beyond samsara. But yeah, the aim is always to, whatever we do, that it operates on both levels, relative and absolute. So therefore, yes, what Shantideva is saying in the 6th chapter, it's like these verses at the moment, they are very much on the relative level, just to understand the mechanism, how our mind works, or the side effects of jealousy and anger and so on. But yes, they have to be paired with wisdom, definitely. And then wisdom, I mean, it is relative wisdom is, I mean, how Shantideva is explaining it is, of course, a relative wisdom, but the real wisdom, the absolute wisdom, that wisdom that brings us beyond this conditioned existence, that is definitely needed, and that is the point in the 9th chapter, and that is then not like a conventional understanding of things, but really like understanding the nature of things, how things are not as they appear or not as they seem, but that we understand that things are, yeah, not really solid by nature, not independent, not singular, but they are illusory. Like, yeah, the classic examples like rainbow reflection of a moon in the water, or like an echo. So if we have that view and like realization that things do appear in a very orderly manner on a relative level, at the same time there are not like that, but they are yeah, empty of all that, and so yeah, if we put together appearance and empty, that means they are illusory, or they're dreamlike. They appear, but without any substance. So, and if we have that wisdom that sees these two levels at the same time, then that is the only way how to go beyond, yeah, samsara and nirvana. Just wait a moment, Marlene. Does that answer, Larry, or do we do? Yeah. And
yes, thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, and wisdom, yeah, is really the 9th chapter. That is
heavy. It's heavy. Mita means conditioned existence. Or what does mita? You said para is beyond, and mita?
I think mita, I heard now different explanations recently, but normally mita is like going. Wait, I just check it. So going beyond, you know, and so some like to translate it as transcendent. Yeah, I think you have been there, Marlene, also with Dolpo Tulpo, right? So he's saying he likes the word transcendent for parameter. But then I also know from some Sanskritists, they just say a parameter means perfection. And so often it's called transcendental perfection. But I think if we look at in Tibetan, it really means like going to the other side, sort of, you know, going, or yeah, so transcending or going beyond. Yes. And the idea is, yeah, for bodhisattvas, we don't aim at samsara, because that is definitely suffering and confusion and pain and fear. And we also don't aim at the nirvana of the arhats, you know, who just want to be free for themselves without caring of others. But thanks to our paramita practice of on the relative level and absolute level, like compassion and wisdom, that is what brings us to Buddhahood, what is beyond samsara and nirvana. It's called non-abiding nirvana also, because it doesn't abide in the usual, it doesn't abide in samsara, the confused state, and it also doesn't abide in the self-centered nirvana. Yeah. So that is always the aim with our paramita practices. And yes, that is only possible with wisdom. Classically, it's the wisdom that is liberate. That the wisdom is that which brings us beyond samsara, because it is eliminating all our confusion and ignorance. So therefore, that liberates ourselves from samsara. And then compassion is the other training, not really separate, of course, but like pedagogically, the other training that then liberates us from the self-centered nirvana where we don't care about others. And therefore, yeah, thanks to wisdom and compassion, then we are neither in samsara nor nirvana. Good, we made it. Thank you, guys. Then let's find the prayers again.
Can I ask one question, Arne?
Sure.
Is this commentary available to read anywhere from Rinpoche, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I'm using many different commentaries, and the classic commentary is by Khenpo Kunsang Palden. It's called do you know that? If not, I can just share it.
No,
I just show it here on Amazon. Nectars of Manjushri, drops of nectars, right? Khenpo. Here. I'm not saying Amazon is the way to buy books, but it's just easy here. So that is right, like really the I think the best book as a commentary to the whole Bodhisattva Charyavatara. As you see here, the author is here. Khenpo Kunsang Palden, he was a student of Patrul Rinpoche, so and he's sort of writing everything down what Patrul Rinpoche taught, and that is really giving a great complete commentary to the whole book. I don't know why hardcover is so expensive here. I'm sure there are other ways to get it, and it also has a good outline, which is not too detailed, because sometimes that could also be too much. And Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche always taught based on this commentary. And then Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, for example, yeah, he taught that in 4 continents, and I'm still gathering all these transcripts, and the aim is to make a book out of that, but that will need a few more years. So therefore they're not yet available, sorry. Okay, jetzt die Gebiete. So let's dedicate whatever positive came out of that today. By this merit, having attained omniscience and defeated the enemy of wrongdoing, may I free all beings from the ocean of existence with its tumultuous waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Just as the heroic Manjushri, who knows everything as it is, and as Samanta Bhatta likewise did too, Just so to follow all of them and train myself, I perfectly dedicate these meritorious actions. May the precious Supreme Bodhisattva arise in those in whom it has not arisen. Having arisen, may it not diminish, but ever expand more and more. As long as space remains, and as long as the world remains, may I too remain to elevate the suffering of the world. Okay, thank you very much for joining and for discussing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay healthy and see you soon. Bye-bye.